Hey everybody, it's Jamie. Welcome to Dev Diary number 2 for Geeked Out Basketball. A little note on cadence for these. I originally had planned to publish these every Friday. That's still going to be my plan long term. But right now, just the way things are working out from a work cadence perspective, I'm publishing these every Sunday. So I published last week's on Sunday, and today's is coming out on a Sunday as well. And the purpose of these is really to bring you all along for the journey, so you can really get a lot of deep insight into this game, so that when we launch the alpha and then we launch the full game, you really understand a lot of the ins and outs of how Geeked Out Basketball works. Because what this isn't your typical button mashing, joystick maneuvering basketball video game. This is really meant to be a deep tactical basketball simulation game. So this is for that segment of gamers who love to play sports simulation games, and very specifically basketball simulation games. Think of this as the basketball version of what football, soccer has with Football Manager, or baseball has with Out of the Park Baseball, or even hockey has had for a while with East Side Hockey Manager. That's what this is meant to be for basketball. And so you all know too, I'm actually developing a U.S. football game engine as well. So I think if you saw Dev Diary 1, essentially where we're at is we built the back end simulation engine and it's working very well. And so now the challenge is to turn this into a game. And what does that mean? That means, first of all, getting the animation right, which you're going to see. That's probably the biggest wart on this alpha right now, is the animation is very, very clunky. We're working on it, and we're going to get the animation to a really smooth and intuitive place. It is absolutely not there right now. So when you see the animations here, give us a little bit of grace. Just know that's something we're working on, but there's a lot of work to do on that. But we're going to get there, and we're going to get there relatively quickly. But the other thing is in terms of making this a game, it's more than just animation. It's really building an interface and a game experience so that all of the goodness of this basketball simulation that's happening on the back end, the information is getting fed to the front end for you, the gamer. So you can see the impact of the decisions you're making. You can make real-time coaching adjustments. I'm actually sitting here right now, and I've been watching this Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game, and Tony Romo was talking about how, this is a game, NFL football. When it comes to coaching, it's a game of adjustments. And he's talking about how Sean McDermott and Andy Reid are kind of playing a game of chess with each other and adjusting things. And that's really what basketball is as well. And that's the game that we're looking to build here. So what we spent a lot of time on this week was really building out this gameplay interface. And this is a first pass. We're going to give it a lot of improvement, but I want to walk you all through where we're at right now, because it's going to give you a sense of all the components that are built into this game sim and all the depth that's into it. And when we do launch the alpha, the type of things that you're going to get to manage as the user and the gamer and the coach of whatever team you choose to coach. So if you can see the screen, this is typical what your game animation screen is going to look like. And what the game experience for you, the gamer in Geeked Out Basketball, is going to be, you're not going to be controlling players. You're not going to be pressing pass, shoot, going for rebounds, trying to get steals on defense. You're going to be watching the game animate in real time, and then you're going to have this full command center as the coach with all types of stats and measures and different sort of things that you need to be paying attention to. And as I walk you through this, the first thing you're going to notice is we have a lot of information here on the dashboard. That's intentional. When sports games are happening, coaches need to manage a lot of things. And so the way this is designed is you're not supposed to take all of this in real time as it's happening, but rather you're supposed to understand where all of the information is. And then you're going to choose where to focus in real time to make adjustments and to figure out what parts of your strategy are working and what parts aren't. And so a couple other caveats, and I'll kind of walk you through all the information that we have here on the dashboard. But right now, the way the alpha is built, it's simulating an entire quarter before you can make any adjustments. That's just where we're at right now. When we launch the alpha, you're going to be able to make adjustments in real time during every possession. So if you want to call a play for a specific player, if you want to change your defensive calls, if you want to call a timeout and get some of your fatigued players out of the game, or a guy who's in foul trouble and make some substitutions or make macro adjustments to your game plan, you can do that. We don't have that right now. Right now, what we're working on is just getting all of the information on the screen. So then you can kind of choose where to go. So with that being said, let me just walk you through all of the components of the command center. And then if you have any questions, if you have any comments or like things or features that you maybe feel like are super intuitive to a game like this that you're missing, put them in the comments below. Like those of you who are watching these videos now, these dev diary videos, you're the people who are going to have a say in how a game like this is developed. Because at the end of the day, there's not a sports simulation game out there like this for basketball. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put the game out there, or we're not trying, we are. We're putting the game out there for hardcore sports sim gamers who want a basketball sim that is on par with what you see with Football Manager for soccer and Out of the Park baseball, or Out of the Park for baseball. So here we go. I'll just kind of walk you through. This is what you're going to see when games are simulating in real time. Up top, this top bar is just your standard scoreboard. So you're going to have the away team logo on the left along with their score, how many timeouts they have remaining, how many team fouls they have. This is the play call bar. And what this does is for the defensive team, it's going to say, what is the defense call? Like, are they in a man defense? Are they in a zone defense? Are they doing a box and one? Are they doing some sort of special hybrid defense? You're going to see that defensive call there. And then tempo and aggression, you're going to kind of get a sense for the more these bars are filled up, the faster tempo they're running and the more aggressive style that they're playing. You're going to see these toggling up and down as turns progress through the game. And then in the middle, obviously, you have your clock. So that's how much time is remaining and then what quarter we're in. So we're in the first quarter. And then on the right side of the screen are all of these components for the home team as well. And offensive plays are a bit different. Right now, you're going to get a call, are you running a set play or are you running a motion offense? And is the focus appear to be more inside, more of like an attacking offense? Are they trying to create drive opportunities for their players? Or are they looking to get it more outside? So you can see based on what the team is reading, they believe this is a set play with an outside focus that they're running there. And then over here, it's the exact same structure on the side for the away team and the home team. And what you have up top, this is the player box score component. And so what you have is you have 3 different stats tabs. You can just kind of like check your player stats here. Tab 1 is going to show all the points, rebounds, assists, and foul components for each of the players. Tab 2 is going to show steals, blocks, and turnovers. And then tab 3 is going to show how you guys are performing defensively. So how many defensive situations have they had and what has their success rate been with their defensive play within the game as well too. And then the same thing for the home team over here. And then the other thing too, you're going to see we have, if you hover your mouse over a player, you're going to get some sort of, you're going to get some other information that's real-time relevant. So how much energy does that player have? You're going to see what is their momentum for the current game state. So momentum is a very temporary thing. So a player's momentum can be completely maxed out with a full green bar, and then he can miss a shot, he can commit a foul, he can make a boneheaded play, dribble the ball off his foot, and it can deplete pretty quickly, maybe even go into the red. And you're going to see we have this pill set up that kind of shows, is your player in sort of a positive momentum state? If so, he's going to be skewing to the right with a green bar, or is he in a bit more of a negative momentum state? You can see these two guys are pretty extreme to each end. And that's going to be with a red bar to the left. And so, wow, all these guys are relatively extreme, except for the center. He's slightly in a positive momentum. And then there's also what emotional state is this player in. So what you're going to see is emotion and momentum are two different things. They do kind of work together to a degree, but you're going to see momentum is much more moment to moment, turn to turn, whereas emotion, there are going to be emotional swings throughout the game as well too, but a player's emotional state is much more determined by the week of practice that you had. Did you prepare for the right things? And then is the team chemistry in a good place that's keeping the player's emotional state? So you are going to see some fluctuations in a player's emotional state during gameplay, but it's going to be more subtle, while momentum swings are going to be very situational and very timely. So it's going to be on you as the coach to really keep your finger on the pulse of who has the hot hand, who might need to be coached up. You can see this guy, Herndon, is a bit, down on the emotional side. This guy's really struggling emotionally, whereas this guy is like maxed out, right? This Landreneau here. But you also want to look at your opponents and do any of your opponents have a hot hand? Like this guy, right? I'd be kind of keep an eye. Is your coach going to try to be getting him the ball because he's clearly in a high momentum state, and whatnot. So that's what you'd be looking for in terms of the player components of this game. And then down here, we've got all the team components. And there are various things you'll be tracking here as well too. The S1 tab are just your straight stats. Very, very straightforward. So field goals, field goal percentage, 3-point free throws, how many rebounds do you have, offensive versus defensive, how many assists, how many turnovers are you committed, how many points in the paint. You can see this team, Little York, all 12 of their points have come in the paint. They've missed their only three-pointer, and they've committed 2 fouls. Whereas over here, you can see this team, both teams are shooting pretty well to start this quarter. This team's got 20 of their 24 points in the paint as well. And you can see they've got a bit of a rebounding advantage. Neither team's missing many shots, so we haven't had many rebounding opportunities. But Lancaster has gotten all 3 rebounds. 2 offensive and 1 defensive. The S2 tab is going to be more about the play calling. So right now, with the way we have the play calling structure set up, you have 2 types of plays you can call: motion plays, which are continually running a motion offense with your team. Pretty much any of the 5 players could end up getting a shot opportunity from anywhere. They're much more focused on read and react by your players, having good team chemistry, and finding the right opportunities. Whereas set plays are designed to get one specific player a shot in the place that he's best suited to take the shot. So trying to get the ball down to your big in the post, trying to set up a double screen to get your best 3-point shooter out on the wing, that type of stuff. And you can kind of see how many times you're calling each play, what is your success rate being with each play. Again, these teams have each had pretty hot first quarters, so you're seeing a lot of 100% success rates. But what you'll also see too is you can hover over these and you can see what was the last play you called and what is the effectiveness read for that play right now. And as we get more into this, you're going to start to understand what feeds into these effectiveness reads. You're going to learn the power of scouting and understanding, okay, if you recognize that play, if you watch a lot of film, i.e. you don't actually watch film in this game, but you just set film to a component of your training during the week. And if you watch more of it, you're going to get higher effectiveness scores in reading the plays that your opponent's running, and then your players are going to be in better position against them. So this effectiveness score that you see here, it's on a scale from -10 to 10, and it's relative to the offensive team. So if you see a -2.4 here, that means this team is not effectively running that play, but then conversely, it means their opponent is effectively defending that play to a degree, to a factor of -2.4 on a scale of -10 to +10. Again, these are all things you're going to start to get a feel for as you play this, but it's meant to be another data point for you to consider as you're coaching your team up, you're making real-time decisions, and you're figuring out, how do you want to outmaneuver the coach on the other side of the court, the same way in this NFL game, Andy Reid and Sean McDermott are looking to outmaneuver each other. And then down here, you just got your cumulative reads. This is like cumulatively inside attack and outside. What have your success rates been? How many times you run each of those? And then we have special situations down here. How many fast breaks and what's your success rate? How many half-court traps have you run? Full court presses, and what's your success rate with those? So those are the S2 tabs for the teams. And then the S3 gets more into measures. And so think of these measures. These really are going to be set, and they're going to be pretty static, I believe, for the most part. They're really going to be determined by where do you focus your attention during training. And one of my very next upcoming videos within the next week or two is going to be all about training, to give you a deep dive on training. But what you're going to do is you're going to come in, and each team's going to have values on these things. And these are all types of things that are coded into the simulation, part of this game engine, that are determining how well your players play on the court. And so D reads is, how effective are your players reading on defense? How well are they making reads in terms of what are the offenses that your opponents are setting up, that they're running? For example, if your opponent is running the same offensive set a lot of times, a higher D read score, defensive read score, means they're going to read that quickly, and they're going to start to punish your opponent if they're running the play too often. And so your opponent, or you, if you're doing this, you're going to want to mix up your offensive play calling, especially for teams that are doing a good job of reading things defensively. Then there's the same thing for offense, right? So how well is your offense reading what defenses are setting up? A lot of times defense, let's say they're running a man defense, they're going to try to disguise it as a zone when they're setting up the half-court offense. How effective is your offense at deducing that? Your offense can get totally disrupted if they think your opponent is setting up a zone defense. They call a zone offensive play, and then it turns out to be a man offense, and then you're more likely to commit an offensive foul or commit a turnover or just not get a good shot, not execute your play and get forced into a suboptimal shot. Shots and free throws, these are thresholds that are going to really affect your team's ability for making free throws and shots coming into that game. Again, a lot of that is going to be based on what is your focus on for training during the week leading into that game. Here's momentum. So momentum delta is this is your team's momentum, which is different than player momentum. I'm probably going to have to do a entire dev diary just on momentum, but your team momentum affects some things, and then your player momentum affects some specific things for that player, and I'll go deep on that. But think of the delta as how wide are the momentum swings, up or down, for that team, and then the momentum score is where is the team's momentum at this point in time. So you can see, like, this team has got, with a 20, has a little bit more momentum than the away team here on the left with a 10. Offensive efficiency, efficiency. This is, again, based on how much you focus on scrimmages during your practices and your training during the week, and running offensive sets in practice and whatnot. That's going to really determine how efficient and how effective is your team at running half-court sets. And then rebounds is, again, how much time did you focus on rebounds? That's going to have a positive or a negative modifying effect as your team and your players are looking to get rebounds during the game. And then the turnover threshold, again, is really being determined by practice. And then also, what is your team's chemistry coming into this? And what you're going to see with team chemistry is that really impacts a lot of things. It's very intangible, but you're going to start to get a feel for the role that team chemistry plays in all components of this game, and you're going to learn that it's a pretty significant component. So again, don't judge this animation. We have a lot of work to do on it. I'll be honest, at least right now when we're trying to get this thing built, we've hard coded a lot of these offensive sets. But what we do have an announcement system built in, so you can kind of see, or you can see which players are doing significant things. So, if this guy makes it, he missed it, but then you kind of see who gets the rebound. That's over here, Henrik, and you can kind of see with his stats now. He's having a good first quarter. He's got 12 points and 2 rebounds. We need to clean up end of quarter logic, but you can see there quarter one's complete, 28-14. And then one other fun little feature I just wanted to show you all. So on the lineup screen, we are color coding guys. If they're starting to get slightly tired, they'll be yellow. If they're starting to get more tired, they'll be orange. And then if they're like really gassed, they're going to be shaded in red. But then the other component we have here I wanted to show you is when you're building your lineup, you can do some pretty cool things. So you can, let's just build a quick lineup, and I'll kind of show you. When you put players in their positions, it shows you what is that player's rating at that position. But then what's cool, let's say, okay, maybe you want to consider putting Struthers at power forward and Martin at small forward. You can do a drag and drop and do that. And you kind of see right now he's an 85 at small forward and Martin is a 53. So that's a 138 total. If you drag and drop, he's a 79 and he's a 39. So at least according to each player's rating at each position, that would be a suboptimal switch to make. That being said, these measures, these ratings are they're meant to give you a starting point, right? And like an anchor, but there's a huge intangible component to this game as well too, just like real life sports, just like real life basketball. And so you as the coach, you're going to have to get a feel for your players and your team. And maybe Martin is doing some things right at small forward, and so you want to make this switch. But it's kind of cool how you can kind of see each player's ranking at every position and then kind of play around with it like that. So that's it for this video. Again, I just kind of wanted to walk you through in-game coaching and what are some of the data points you're going to have being fed to you. Again, if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, put them in the comments below. And if you're interested, check out, we're going to be launching the alpha soon. So if you want to be notified when the alpha goes live and start to play this game yourself, go ahead and sign up. We got the link to the alpha. It's at gobalpha.com. And we can go from there. Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate your time watching this video, and we will be back either this Friday or next Sunday with Dev Diary number 3. Bye-bye.